Hi, welcome back to BC and Hormonal. This is the second episode of the channel. So, welcome to the channel. So, it is BC and Hormonal because I am from the beach, love the beach. So, we'll be checking out different beaches periodically. And hormonal because I'm in perimenopause, and that's just a beast in itself. And I want all women to know about perimenopause because when I started my journey 2 years ago, I had no clue what it was. I've done a lot of research. Dr. Mary Haver is one of the ones that I do a lot of research with on her stuff. And so just a little bit how it all started because I had no clue when I started out. I just know in December of 2022, my body went haywire. My hands were hurting all the time and I didn't know what was going on. So I went to the doctor and she said, well, very possible that you have carpal tunnel. So I wore braces on both of my hands just to see if that was a problem. And then my legs and my feet, they started to swell to the point that I almost couldn't walk. We did some lab work. It did come back that I was low in my vitamin D and my B12. So we took the vitamin D vitamin and I got a B12 shot. In the midst of all that, the doctor did some testing because of the symptoms that I was carrying. It was almost like somebody who had Lyme disease. But we went through all the testing with that. Everything was fine. Other than that, all my labs looked normal. And so I did ask my doctor, I said, could it be perimenopause? And she said, no, not perimenopause. You're still on your period and you're still young. So, that's not what it is. I said, okay. But I knew I wasn't right. So I've had this body for over 40 years. I know this body very well. And so I kept telling her, I'm like, something is not right. She said, well, let's send you to an arthritis doctor just to check out the pains that you're having in your joints. I said, okay. So we go, and the only thing we can find out after ultrasounds and testing is I have osteoarthritis in my feet. So when it's coming cold or rain, my body's going to tell me because the osteoarthritis in my feet. So after that, I could not wear my Skechers that I love. I ended up just only wearing On Clouds. That's the only thing I could wear was the On Cloud Monsters. So then I went to my gynecologist in 2023 and I told her my symptoms and kind of what was going on. And she was like, no, you're young, you still have your period, it's not perimenopause. So I felt like I was being brushed off. In the midst of all that, I had this thing where I would just cough. And when I would cough, I would almost throw up every time I ate. And so we went to another doctor. And so we just stretched my throat, see if that would help. And that was pretty much what we did there. So I'm like, okay. So in the meantime, I still think I'm crazy because not only do I have some of the weirdest symptoms going on and everybody thinks I'm crazy, um, what do? You cannot get nobody to listen to you. So we rocked on for another year and I went back to my doctor again. We did labs for the beginning of the year. Of course, everything comes back normal. I have like a picture of perfect health. And I go to my gynecologist and I tell her kind of what's going on again. And she's like, well, I'll send you to an endocrinologist and we'll see what she says. Okay, we'll do that. I go to a endocrinologist and I'm thinking hormones, she's going to know exactly what's going on. She had no clue what perimenopause was. I was almost having to use keywords to trigger menopause in her mind. And of course, she's like, nope, you're fine. Let's do some labs. Of course, my labs came back fine. Went back to another doctor about the coughing that I had. She went down my throat. We looked again, nothing but GERD. So I'm like, okay, I'm crazy. And then, so just a little bit of the symptoms that I'm having throughout this whole time. It is, of course, rage. So for me and my husband, we even make it through this marriage, people are going to think we're amazing. But I mean, we've been together over 20 years. He kind of has learned to navigate that. So eventually I'll bring him on the podcast or the vlog here so we can see a men's perspective. But it doesn't take much for me to tell you all. I can tell you off with a smile on my face, I have been told. I was driving in our bigger city in Panama City, and all of a sudden I just got mad for no apparent reason. And I wasn't hungry because I do battle, I might get hangry, but I wasn't mad. All of a sudden it just came over me. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on? And I was just raging, so mad. The other thing is insomnia. I wake up periodically in the middle of the night, can't sleep.
I'm
always the one to go to bed early and get right on up, no problem. So now it could be 10, 11, 12. I might go to sleep. I might not. I might wake up at 3 and I might just not get up. I just try to force myself to stay in the bed. So I don't get a good night's sleep most of the time. Along with insomnia, then it comes the brain fog. So in the job that I have, I need to stay focused, but it's hard to stay focused. It stays hard to want to actually do something. So while I'm dealing with brain fog, I also have the part where I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit at home in my recliner with my blanket and watch TV. That is all I want to do. I don't want nobody to talk to me. I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to think about nothing. And that's really, really sad that I'm going through that. But I'm learning to navigate just when some of the symptoms start coming on. I kind of recognize it. I can tell my husband, I think I'm dealing with a little perimenopause, higher symptoms than I normally have. I do deal with joint pains. So definitely my hands and my feet, they hurt. Um, we are just navigating that. I'm still dealing with the cough after certain foods. What I've now figured out, certain type of restaurants or cheeses or things like that, things that trigger it. I am trying something new called the fire cider. I'm trying that. So far, it has helped, and it's lessened my symptoms. So I'm trying anything that will help me. I have gained weight, of course. Whoopee. Yay, there we go. It sucks. But I am starting a list of things that I do like. So I'm not big on protein and I'm not big on working out. So I am trying to start a list up. I'm a list girl. I got to make a list and then try to start accomplish some of those goals to try to help get the weight off and see if that will help lessen some of the symptoms. But I'm going to do that. The other thing is I do have shorter periods. Um, so yay. They also say your hair growth isn't as much, like the underarm and the leg hair. As you get older, you don't have it as much. So that's a plus. I do have migraines. I do battle migraines. You know, I just try to navigate when I pretty much keep a Excedrin with me all the time. And then I do have an eye massager that I will put on my face to kind of help, especially after stressful days or when I can't rest, I will use that. The weirdest symptom that I have, and I can tell when it's triggered, is I want to go on a shopping spree. And I know that sounds crazy, but for me, I just don't go buy crazy stuff. But so one example is a couple weeks ago, I told my husband I got up. We were going to stay home and just chill. And I'm like, listen, I have to go shopping. I'm just telling you that my perimenopause is up. I want to go to this restaurant and eat, and I need to go shopping. And so we went shopping. Why in the world did I spend $100 on some perfume? But I did, and it smells great. I don't regret it. A little bit of regret, not a lot, but I do regret it a little bit. But it was amazing, just a day out shopping. But I come home, and then I come back to myself. I'm like a little crazy there, but it's okay. We will navigate that. So in the midst of all that, when I read Dr. Mary Haver's book, The New Menopause, she mentioned in there the Menopause Society. So I went to the Menopause Society just to see what what's on there, any doctors that we may have that might treat what I'm going through. And so I came across my doctor. I met her in November. She is amazing. She doesn't think I'm crazy. She said everything that I'm going through is basically perimenopause. There's not a lot of research out there. There's not a pill you can take that's going to magically make everything perfect. But so we're navigating through that, and she's staying on top of my lab. So currently, some of my thyroids have came back in the red. So I went to an endocrinologist, a different one, and she said currently my thyroid looks good. The results that she's looking at are fine, but because of my family history with thyroid, we're going to do some preventative testing. Go ahead and be on the lookout for it. So we're going to do some scans of my thyroid and do some more blood work in a couple of months just to see, am I a candidate for Graves' disease? Am I a candidate for Hashimoto's or something like that? I think I can't really pronounce it. So we're going to try that. So yeah, I'm just continually navigating. We changed up my birth control medicine. That has seemed to help a little bit with the rage. I don't seem to be to the point I was several months ago, but it still is there. I still do that. But my family's been great. My coworkers have been great to navigate with me, and they're like, they all reassure me you're not crazy. The one thing about my doctor, when I did meet with her, she said, you're very in tune with your body, because I could tell her exactly when I had my mammograms, my pap smears, everything. And I could tell her times of dates of when things happen, because I've been journaling everything through this process. But we're going to say BC and hormonal.